Hey guys, welcome back, or welcome if you are new. I hope you're having a great day. In this video, I want to share a post-burn review of Kringle Candle Christmas Tree Farm. This was one of 6 new fragrances that was released from Kringle Candle for the holiday 2025 season this year. I have already filmed 2 in-depth post-burn reviews. If you missed either of those, I will link them in the description box right below this video. Feel free to check them out if you are interested. And the remaining reviews, we've only got a couple left, will be coming out in the next couple of days here. So if you're interested in picking this one up, I'll have a link where to shop with Kringle Candle at the very top of the description box here. You can always use my discount code Melanie15 to save yourself a little bit of extra money at checkout. So I'll include that information in the description box as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive into this very kind of classic, honestly, really well done Christmas fragrance. There was a very similar fragrance that was put out last year. If you will remember, the cypress and cinnamon. If you really liked cypress and cinnamon, I think you're really gonna like this one. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into Kringle Candle Christmas Tree Farm. As always, I'm going to read through the scent story first, then we'll dig into the top, middle, and base notes. After that, I will tell you what I actually smell in this fragrance, then we'll get into the overall strength and throw, and then lastly address the overall burn quality. Typically with Kringle, I don't have a whole lot to mention in regard to the burn quality. It's one of the things that I love about Kringle is that I rarely have any issues with them. But there is just a little something that I noticed about this particular fragrance that I think is worth passing along. So we'll get to that towards the end of the video. Let's go ahead and get started by reading through the scent story first. All right, Christmas Tree Farm. Wander through rows of evergreens with Christmas Tree Farm, where crisp fir needles and fresh-cut balsam fill the frosty air. Hints of orange and pine mingle with earthy woods and soft musk, evoking the joy of picking the perfect tree. It's the scent of holiday tradition wrapped in warmth and evergreen magic. The top notes are fir needle and balsam, the mid notes are pine and orange, and the base is wood and musk. So, what do I smell here? First of all, this is about, I would say, 75% just like Christmas tree notes, if you will. I do think there is a very distinct balsam note in here. I also think there is a very distinct pine note as well. So for me, I can definitely smell at least 2 different holiday tree notes, and they're really well done. I think they are quite authentic. I do think that they smell like a more like fresh, outdoorsy holiday tree note, if that makes sense. There are some Christmas tree scents that smell very warm and cozy, like the tree smells inside your house. And then there are tree scents that smell a little bit more cool, like they have like an outdoorsy type of cool, fresh air happening. And I feel like that's the case with this one, is that it does smell like it is more of like walking through a Christmas tree farm versus walking into your warm house, where that like sap or that resin from the tree has kind of warmed up a little bit, and it just smells, I guess for lack of a better word, warmer, maybe like a cozier tree scent. So yes, very much like an outdoorsy vibe to the tree scents with this one for sure. I do also smell a very distinct orange note in here, but it doesn't, sorry if you hear some licking. Penny is currently, she's licking Alf's face. I'm not sure why. Hopefully that is something that he wants right now. He seems to be sleeping through it, so we'll let it happen. Okay, so the orange note. It's not like a freshly cut like navel orange or blood orange or something like that. It smells a little bit more like an orange Tang. Do you guys remember Tang? Who grew up with the like powdered orange Tang? I did. So in the 80s and 90s, oftentimes when we wanted like orange juice, if my mom didn't have the frozen concentrate, she used to have at the very least, the Tang powder. So yeah, this smells a little bit like sticking your nose into a jar of orange Tang. It's definitely orange, but it is maybe a little slightly artificial, maybe a little bit more candied. Candied, I feel like, is the better word maybe for it. Like a candied orange note is what I'm getting here. It's very intense. It's quite sweet, but it is very much orange. Just not the most authentic freshly cut orange. Now, the wood that is mentioned in the base, I don't really smell. But I do get a muskiness here. And I feel like the muskiness is kind of letting off a little bit of a like perfumey musky vibe, if that makes sense. This does have a little tiny, I'm talking tiny bit of perfuminess to my nose. It really is predominantly, like I said, 75% like pine and balsam. Then you've got the remainder mostly being the orange, and then you also have that little bit of muskiness as well. So it's a really nicely done scent. I really like this one. And if you liked the cypress and cinnamon, is that the one I'm thinking of? I think it's the cypress and cinnamon. If you liked that fragrance last year, I really like that fragrance. This is definitely giving off a similar vibe to that. So yeah, I really like this one. It would definitely be a repurchase for me for sure. In terms of the strength and throw here, this one has been a solid performer. The strength has been a pretty solid, I would say 7.5, 8 for this first little bit of the candle here. You can tell I'm about a third of the way through at this point. And it's been a decently strong performer. The throw, I would also put somewhere between a 7 and an 8. It is strong enough to definitely escape the immediate area where I'm burning it. Doesn't quite fill the entire downstairs of the house, but fills a pretty good chunk of it. It performs like a typical Kringle 2-wick. So if you're kind of used to that 2-wick performance, I feel like that is what I'm getting from this one. I'm not sure that I would actually want this one in the 4-wick. I think that I would probably pick maybe Christmas or Christmas stroll as something that, or like a Christmas tree scent that I would want in a 4-wick version. But yeah, this one I think in the 2-wick is performing really well for me. I think this is going to be a very popular fragrance. But if you are unsure about it, if you're unsure about that musk note that I mentioned, grab the daylight. It is always worth grabbing the daylight first. Do not get stuck with a large jar of something that you really dislike. There's nothing worse than ordering a candle thinking like, oh, I'm gonna love this. And then you get it and you're like, womp womp. So if you're unsure, go for the daylight or the wax melt. All right. In terms of the overall burn quality, pretty much for the most part, it's been going well. No major issues, except usually I can burn my Kringle candles for a little bit longer than some of my other candle companies that I also enjoy. But with this one, I've noticed that, and I think it's because maybe of the concentration of either the balsam or the pine. If I let this one go for about more than 5 hours, I start to notice just a little bit of discoloration on the side of the jar. I'm not sure if you can even really see it, but I can tell that it's there. Hold on, let me see if I can get a little. There's like just a little tiny bit of discoloration that is collecting when oh yeah, you can definitely see it on my finger there. You see how that finger is just a little bit dirtier. Normally I don't deal with much of that on the side of my Kringle jars, but sometimes with certain tree fragrances, I will notice that. So this is one of those where I would suggest following the suggested burn time. Listen, I definitely will go longer than suggested with a lot of my Kringle candles, but when it comes to the tree scents, I think you need to be a little bit more mindful with those. So for me, I'm gonna stick with more of like the 4 to 5 hour burn max with this one, just so it doesn't get super discolored or sooty on me. There's just something with those holiday tree scents sometimes that will just cause this. So to nip it in the bud, if you will, I would suggest just not burning this one beyond like 4 or 5 hours. You should be fine. But other than that, the wicks have been great. The wax is still the original color. There's just that little bit of discoloration starting to form around the side of the jar. And that is something that is a little unusual for Kringle, at least in my experience. So for what it's worth, those are my thoughts on this really fantastic new holiday fragrance for 2025. If you've already picked this one up, I would love to know what your thoughts are on it in the comments down below. So let us know. I will have the links to the other videos that I've already shared in the description box, as well as a link to where to shop with Kringle Candle and a discount code. So have at it if you're interested. Otherwise, I really appreciate you guys being here. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.